Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. So, when you're seeing this, yesterday was Ghastly / Gengar Community Day. I hope everybody had a great and safe Community Day in your area, region, wherever you're living. I hope you were able to pull your shiny Gastlys and Gengars and Haunters, and I hope you're also able to get your PvP IVs for each of the leagues. Gengar is going to have a lot of play, especially in Ultra and Premier. Don't want to talk too much about it, but the Community Day did kind of bring me back a little bit and reminded me that, oh, Alakazam had a Community Day, and I know Niantic did a video on Alakazam in each of the leagues, but when he did his video, there was no Premier Cup at the time. So what I plan to do for you guys is I'm going to show you Alakazam in Premier Cup. I have some spicy set for you guys. I was able to make it work a little bit. We already know probably off the bat that it's not going to have the most play, but I had a lot of fun battles and I'm excited to show you the set. I promise I will be jumping on the Gengar hype soon. I know a lot of other Twitch streamers and YouTubers are going to hop on it, and I plan to definitely add my own little catalog of battles so we can learn as much about Gengar, but let's learn about Alakazam too while we're at it. I'm excited about this set. So let's jump into these battles. Oh, also, please, as we get into these battles, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Your support is extremely appreciated. So, off the bat, Alakazam does counter one important Pokemon in the Premier Cup meta, that Pokemon being Metagross. There might be another Steel type in the Premier Cup meta that you're assuming Alakazam would counter, and we have that nice little lead situation here, Alakazam on Magnezone. My opponent also assumes that and decides to swap out. According to PvPoke, it doesn't really counter it, and I think that's mostly because if Magnezone can land that Mirror Shot bait and then throw a Wild Charge after, Alakazam would essentially get one shot by the Wild Charge, which would be a huge problem, which is why Alakazam would lose that matchup. But Alakazam does counter Metagross in the 0 and the 1 shields. We'll see later on that does not counter it well in the 2 shields. So I built my team accordingly. Essentially, I was like, alright, I got one Pokemon for Metagross, and now I just need 2 Pokemon to back it up that cover the rest of the Premier Cup meta. So I went with Togekiss for all the dragons and all the Dragonites that I'm going to run into, and I went with Magnezone because it can deal with the dragons, it can deal with the Metagrosses, it could deal with kind of other Magnezones. I mean, it's the mirror match, that one's always a fun one to play out. But essentially, I just went for as much coverage as possible to back up Alakazam because it has one job and one job only that I'm hoping it will be able to accomplish in this set. So, this first match, I'm way behind on commentating. I got the Magnezone on the Dragonite here, and I'm going for a Wild Charge, but there was a big turning point that happened a little bit earlier in the match, and it was my opponent landing the Skull Bash from their Snorlax on my Togekiss, and I wasn't really expecting it at that time because these battles were from a little while ago, right when FP Sticks and some others were making Skull Bash Snorlax more popular, and that ended up proving huge. Right now we're in a Magnezone on Magnezone mirror match, and essentially I'm not going to be able to line up my Alakazam with their Magnezone because I'm pretty sure I lost switch advantage from that happening. And now they're getting to a charge move here. I decided not to shield it because my only potential play here is to bring Alakazam in, counter down their Magnezone, and then throw a Shadow Ball at their Dragonite, and maybe they just won't shield it. But that's obviously not going to happen here. They're going for a charge move, ends up being the Mirror Shot. I have the shield. I'm going to commit to that counter down. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to throw this. Oh no, I throw the Fire Punch. I throw the Fire Punch because I want to get the shield and be like, you know, maybe Alakazam could survive a couple Dragon Breaths and get to the Shadow Ball. I know, very wishful thinking. I was super far away from it after that Fire Punch. And I unfortunately lose the first match after winning lead. So, not off to the best start with Alakazam. I promise you, there is one match in this set that shows Alakazam's very specific niche paying off for my advantage. This is not that match. We got Alakazam on a Garchomp lead here. I have no idea how this is going to play out. I love myself some Garchomp. I love using Garchomp. I definitely don't want to face Garchomps. And they're going for a charge move here. And Alakazam being as glassy as it is, I have to shield. Luckily I didn't get baited. Ended up being an outrage. So I go for my charge move here. I'm going for the Shadow Ball. I'm hoping maybe I can get this through and be able to counter down Garchomp. I have no idea how much damage it's going to do. Gets Garchomp in the red, but unfortunately, it's just not enough damage to allow Alakazam to counter it down. Then I have another charge move here. I end up using another shield because I'm like, you know, this is an Alakazam showcase, so let's protect it, and they baited me, which was very unfortunate. I thought they would have gotten to that other outrage, honestly. Felt like they were in there for a while. So Togekiss comes in, I go for the Shadow Ball, hoping to land this. It does get one of their shields. I swap into my own Togekiss, because I know I have my Magnezone to counter it, and I was hoping they'd take their Togekiss out, which they didn't do. And I also wanted to clear the debuff on Alakazam, so maybe later it could do something for me. Now, they're going for a charge move here, ends up being an Aerial Ace. I will survive it. I will be able to get to my own Ancient Power. This will either grab their last shield or take out their Togekiss. So let's wait for this to go through. It takes out their Togekiss, and we find out they have a Gyarados in the back, and I'm like, I made the perfect team comp, because I got a Magnezone in the back. And they can get to a crunch. They will not be able to get to a waterfall here. A Hydro Pump here, if they're even running it, because typically Waterfall Gyarados are running Outrage. Either way, they're not going to be able to take me out. I would have gotten to 2 wild charges, and I would have been able to take out their Gyarados and essentially win the match, which is why they quit. So, Magnezone bailed out Alakazam. I'll take it. Getting into this third match, this is where Alakazam is going to strut its stuff. And we get an Alakazam on Metagross lead here. So I know I can win the 0 and the 1 shield here. I don't know at this point that I lose the 2 shields, but I don't think my opponent knows that either. They actually decide to swap. They bring in Gyarados. I bring in Magnezone to counter it perfectly. So far, so good. They're getting to a charge move here. It was pretty quick, so I know it's got to be a crunch. Ends up being a crunch. I'm going to essentially overfarm and throw a Mirror Shot because I want to get the Gyarados low, but I also don't want to take another charge move. So I'm going for that Mirror Shot here. There we go, gets it nice and low, and now I can commit to a farm down, but they do end up getting to the second crunch, unfortunately. I definitely don't want to throw a Wild Charge, because even though it would have taken out the Gyarados, it would have debuffed me, and at least at this point, even though I have to sacrifice a shield, Magnezone's got a bunch of energy for whatever decides to come in, whether it be the Metagross or their other Pokemon. Let's see what they decide to bring in. They're waiting their switch timer out. They end up bringing in a Dragonite, and I'm cool with that. I will double Wild Charge. They can Dragon Breath my Magnezone down. I can bring in Togekiss to handle this Dragonite with no issues whatsoever. And this match is looking nice because Togekiss will line up with Dragonite, and then Alakazam will be able to clutch this in the back and take out their Metagross. So let's wait for this to completely play through. They Dragon Breath me down. We're even on shields. Togekiss is obviously coming in. Togekiss comes in and they swap. I bring in Alakazam, and Alakazam still doesn't really like those bullet punches. I'm going to go for these fire punches though, because they have 1 shield. They decide not to use it there, but I can get to another fire punch if need be. So I decide to shield up my Alakazam here, because a Meteor Mash would definitely take it out. I'm committing, I'm countering, I go for the fire punch. I didn't want to go for the counter down because my health was getting low. I was also worried they might get to Meteor Mash. They don't shield it. Alakazam does its job, takes out the Metagross, and their Dragonite is super low. They're not going to be able to use their shield, and Togekiss is able to charm it down. GG. Good work, Alakazam. Unfortunately, that is going to be the last positive thing we see from Alakazam in this set, but we have 2 more matches left, so let's see how they play out. Got Alakazam on Metagross lead again. This one's looking great, but my opponent decides to play it differently than my opponent in my last match, and they keep their Metagross in, and this is where I learned that valuable lesson that I mentioned earlier. Alakazam does not win the 2 shields. I throw a Fire Punch here. They decide to shield it, so it's a good thing I didn't go for the Shadow Ball. They're going for their charge move here. I'm figuring I can outpace them to the fire punches, so I should be able to maybe pull out this matchup. I could definitely pull out the 1 shield, so I overcharge again. I go for another fire punch here. This will get the Metagross, I'm assuming, either take it out or get it low enough where I can get another counter in and they won't be able to get to the Meteor Mash, but they double shield, and I'm like, wait a minute. Alakazam is just so glassy. Even in Premier Cup, yes, it doesn't help that my Alakazam is not a hundo, and it's also shiny, but it's a lucky shiny 93, so obviously I had to max it out and use it. But even the difference of a 93 versus a hundo there, Alakazam is just way too glassy in every single lead. You probably already knew that. I still had a ton of fun using it, but it's just way too glassy to be used, unfortunately, even in the Premier Cup meta. So, my opponent, I play this really poorly. I get their last shield, but they're going to get all the way to an Earthquake and one-shot my Magnezone, and I'm left with a Togekiss against 2 of their Pokemon, and if they have anything that slightly counters my Togekiss, like their own Togekiss, this is essentially GG. I play out the rest of the match for the formality, but I will be honest with you guys, a lot of the times, if I'm just like switch locked and it's a guaranteed loss, I will quit. I don't really see anything wrong with quitting. As much as maybe you're not saving your opponent that much time, you're still saving them sometime. And I also appreciate it sometimes when I have an easy or a locked up win against my opponent and they end up quitting, because it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's really not as bad as what a lot of people make out quitting to be. I feel like I was rambling about quitting. My point is, it's okay to quit if you want to save your opponent some time. If you want to play it out, that's also okay. You do you. Don't worry about what other people are saying about it. Now, getting into this next match, I got Alakazam on Togekiss, and this matchup isn't exactly positive either. I'm throwing, what, double resisted counters? Somebody correct me, because I know it's Fairy Flying, and I know Flying resists fighting. I know Fairy resists fighting, so I'm pretty sure it's double resisted. But I go for the Shadow Ball, hoping to land a little nuke. They shield it, so I go for the immediate swap, because Magnezone was essentially my safe swap in this team comp. And they have a beautiful, shiny counter to my Magnezone. Now, Garchomp shiny is not really beautiful, but the fact that their Garchomp is shiny, and I'm pretty sure that's a hundo, or it's pretty dang close to it, I am super jealous. My non-shiny, but it's a hundo, so maybe I'm not too jealous. I don't know. I just love it. Don't love it in this situation, though, because Garchomp's going to work on my Magnezone. It's going to get me low there. They completely undercharge that Sand Tomb because they just want to build up as much extra energy as possible. It was not the attack debuff that I got that Sand Tomb so low. And I'm just trying to get on whatever chip damage I possibly can. They farmed a ton off my Magnezone, and I decided to bring in Togekiss because this will essentially wall the Garchomp, and all that energy will kind of go to waste. They can Sand Tomb the heck out of me. Once I take their Garchomp down and something else comes in, I'm just going to swap out like I did there, and now they bring in Snorlax. It licks the heck out of my Alakazam in like 2 seconds, and it evaporates. And now this match is essentially a formality also. As much as I have 2 shields to 1 shield advantage, I have to shield each of these body slams. It's going to take forever to charm down the Snorlax, even though it is a Shadow Snorlax. And then we CMP tie, which is never the most fortunate thing. And like I said, the Shadow extra damage on the body slams, I have to shield it on Togekiss if I want any chance. And essentially they have, what, Garchomp, and they have their own Togekiss, but their Togekiss shielded my Shadow Ball earlier in the match, so their Togekiss pretty much has full health. So even though I'm able to take out their Snorlax finally, being down a shield and them having a Togekiss with literally full health, they also threw in their Garchomp because it had so much extra energy from earlier that they could land a Sand Tomb on me to debuff my defense, because I did the insult to injury there. But yeah, see their Togekiss. I throw the Ancient Power. Honestly, I was just curious how close I could keep it. Like I said before, it's okay to quit in these situations. A lot of the times if I'm not recording, I will quit in these situations. The only reason why I don't is to just show you guys what the rest of the match looks like, because there are always potential matchups that could be talked about and focused on even in those types of poor situations. So, back to the rating scale that I used in the last video, which I'm going to try to do whenever I throw out a new team that I haven't already done a video on. From a scale of 1 to 10, this team gets a 1. As much as I covered Alakazam pretty well with Magnezone and Togekiss, and that third match lined up everything beautifully, outside of that, Alakazam is obviously way too glassy. You guys are probably going to remind me and tell me you already knew this in the comment section, which I completely understand. I had a lot of fun trying it out though. I have a Max Shiny, guys. I have to find some sort of use for it. So it turns into a little bit of YouTube content. My elo struggles a little bit, but I pulled the 2 and 3. I was able to make Alakazam work to an extent. It has a very specific niche in Metagross, but I do not recommend this team because it even loses the 2 shield to Metagross. So honestly, not too much else to say here. Like I already said though, you guys probably already knew this. I hope you enjoyed the battles. They were fun. It was nice to at least pull out a couple wins with it. And other than that, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section if there are any other super spicy picks like Alakazam that you want me to try out. I definitely want to hop on the Gengar hype train very shortly. All leagues should be back today when you're seeing this video. So my plan is to probably try and test. I speak English, I promise guys, I really do. I'm just not like good at it, even though it's my only language. What was I trying to say? I'm gonna try Gengar in Ultra League first because I think that's where it's gonna have the most play. I definitely have been seeing it Premier Cup though, and it definitely has play there too. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I think I'm repeating myself at this point. I might be losing my mind a little bit. Alakazam's got me in a little daze with its spoons and stuff. Alright, see you guys in the next video.